Welcome to the OPEX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is the curator of the charity Chad, Bethany McChesney. So, yeah, we had a shoot the shit episode last week. We're probably gonna do another one this week. Do you want to start with your weekend run or your weekend Chad?
Yeah, well, let's start with the run because we follow it up with Chad. Again, it ended up being a crazy weekend for us. I don't know why I do this to myself, but it's what I do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Just throw everything into one weekend. It's just makes it more exciting. Yeah,
Get it
we
all out of the
had
way. Get
yeah,
it all out of the way, kind of thing, you know?
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, the we I've had a couple clients who kind of got interested in the ultra-ish kind of running world. And so there was a race that was coming up that was local in London. Where it was a 2.5K loop as many times as you can do in 6 hours.
Yeah.
So, which is such a safe introduction to ultra running because you're right by your station every 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a
So
backyard ultra.
yeah, it's exactly like a backyard ultra. And it's such a short loop that if you want to walk the loop, it's not like, you're gone for an hour. You don't have to carry everything with you. So it was and I had like 16 people sign up for it. Like I'm pretty good at convincing people to do things that are hard. But this one I was like, oh man. I um, but I was pretty excited about it. And you could do it as a relay format. So we did have a relay team as well. Um, yeah, so it was a really awesome day. And for November, it was like 10 degrees and sunny by the afternoon, which like you could not ask for better. It potentially could have been a snow blizzard. And it was awesome. So and we had Jeff also. So his one of his best friends passed away suddenly the week before. So he pledged to run 50K in his honor. And there's a charity for his friend's son, a GoFundMe. So donating $5 for every kilometer that he made, and kind of challenged some of his friends to come out and support as well. So he did hit 50, which is pretty awesome for him, and felt pretty good doing it, which is really, really awesome. So I helped him to a marathon distance and then walked my last lap with a friend of mine. So yeah, it was just a really awesome day. Like one of those days where people do things that, if you'd asked them a year ago, do you think you could run 35K? Most people, like anyone would have been like, no, but they did some really awesome things. And yeah, I had some girls get over 40K, which is really awesome. Yeah, so they've already started sending in the group chat like, oh, how about we try this next? And how about we try this next? And it kind of gets like, you know, even the one girl said, I've always been afraid to sign up for Spartan Beast, but I just ran 35K. So what the heck?
You know, it reminds me, and I think this a lot. One, I always have ideas, tons and tons of ideas for things like this, and I'm terrible with the follow through because I'm a terrible organizer. I'm no good at like getting things squared away. This is just not in my wheelhouse. I would love to be that person, but I'm not. You know, everybody's got their shortcomings. That's one of mine. But these events like this, they don't have to be huge to be awesome.
No.
Like they don't, and
Yeah.
more people do it. Like and reach out because you never know, some random stranger might show up.
And it doesn't have to be super complicated. Like this was 2.5K around a golf course.
Yeah.
So yes, you have to set up your flags, the timing system. But other than that, it's not that complicated.
No.
But you're allowing people an opportunity to do something that is extremely memorable to them and in some ways could be life changing. Like it was for a lot of my clients, I think it could have been that door opening for them that showed them like your body is way more capable of things than you may have ever imagined. And again, a very, very simple concept. So yeah, give it a go.
Yeah, that's why one day I do want to do like a group thing of that world's toughest mile with the where you're around the track with the burpees and the lunges
Mhm.
and the bear crawl and all that. I think that'd be all right.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, those are awesome. And what a great reason for reason. And actually really cool on a side note, really cool to see Jeff held up well because I mean earlier in the year he was having some problems with the running, wasn't able to run so much. And this going into Worlds is great
Yeah.
because yeah, it's good to see he'll be going in there. And because we're gonna
Yeah.
compete head to head, so I want him rocking good. I don't want no cheap victory.
No, you want to battle the best version of
Hell
yourself.
yeah, I am so
Yeah.
looking forward to that race. And honestly, I don't know how it's going to turn out. But I think the top team, this would be our Decamile relay. The top team is kind of separated themselves in the standings by the time wise. But then the next four are separated by 17 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just, and they're all cool people. And I'm like, that is just going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
however it turns out, it's just going to be a blast. I love it.
Mm.
So that was the day anyway. So yeah, you had a good turnout there. That was
That's,
Saturday. Saturday for us. Because
yeah.
this weekend was WTM, which I guess we'll chat about that in a bit. But it was
Hmm.
WTM this weekend. So we hung out with Chris and Kelly and there, and Chris especially is normally a WTM guy. I think he's done 75 miles before. Um, and there's always a little bit of FOMO when that's going on.
Hmm.
So we decided we saw this thing online. And again, just one of these things you see online. But it was 24 hours. It was advertised as 24 hours of hero watts.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
wasn't,
there was a gym around here that was doing that too.
yeah. So we didn't do the full thing because like 24 hours of watts. I don't really know if anybody actually did that.
Well, I think it was like three on one day, three on the other day.
Yes. So what we did was we did six on Saturday.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and oh my God, it was fun. It was right, and we did it in our little dining room gym and everything. So it was kind of cramped, but that made it even more fun. And we had to adjust a bit here. And then we just instead of following the exact ones, we just started picking hero wads we liked. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, that looks cool. That looks fun. And it was great. It was a good
Mhm.
time. And we did kick in for the charity part. So that was good. But
Mhm.
it was just another thing that was just four of us just doing a cool, fun thing. And oh my God, I felt pretty good afterwards, right? I didn't feel too bad. And everybody's like, oh, everybody's like, our upper bodies are just shot, just a mess. And I'm like, I'm fairly good shoulder wise and everything like that. I got good, strong shoulders. And that was all right. But the next day, it did kick in for me the next day. I was
Mhm.
definitely feeling. I'm still not as bad as it could have been, but I could definitely feel it. It was a good sign for me though, like because I got through the wads really well, and I'm like I was feeling very good. For me, feeling very ready for Ocala for Worlds. I'm feeling
Mhm.
fairly dialed in, and like the training's working right. So that was a lot of fun. But I'm trying to remember we finished we did a relay of Murph.
Okay.
So what we did was we broke it into 20 sets of 5, 10, 15, and then a 160-meter run. And we just relayed, boom, boom, kept rotating what everybody did all the way around.
Nice.
And it was a lot of fun. It was good. That way, it was a great way to finish. It was a great way to finish. But we did,
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, like I say, it's just another small thing, just a little get together that can be so much fun. It
Yeah.
reminded me again of we did a few years back. I guess I can't remember what year, but we did a WTM at Chris and Kelly's place.
Hmm.
Where they
During COVID.
during COVID, I think
Yeah.
it was legal. We were okay. Anyway, we did it and we did the no, it wasn't during COVID. It was the one right after COVID.
Okay.
And, because we had it on the TV, the actual one going on in the background, the coverage. And we just ran around our 1K loop doing, I think we had like 12 obstacles in 1K.
Hmm.
Ran around as many times through the 24 hours as we could. And there was six of us for that. And it was another just epic little event that you can do. So much fun. Um,
Yeah. Something different to do when you hang out with your friends besides just, you know,
get drunk
drinking or
and
whatever. Yeah.
besides getting drunk and being twits, getting
Yeah.
it. So yeah, it was good. And we had lots of pizza and sushi on the same day.
Perfect.
That just the way you gotta roll.
Mhm.
So then Sunday you had your charity chat.
Yeah, so we wanted to do something for Remembrance Day. So we chose the Hero Workout Chad, which I think seems like a kind of a standard thing that people do on Remembrance Day. And I knew that a lot of our clients were doing the ultra the day before. So yeah, I was like, oh, well, it'll be kind of a unique challenge if they can come and do it back to back. So we did have a couple people that did, which is really, really crazy. And then yeah, same thing. So Jeff did the whole Chad himself solo again in honor of his friend, and again help raise money. Um, yeah, and we had a good turnout. So I've never done Chad. I couldn't participate in this one. But yeah, it was really cool, and people just coming together again. And we did it in support of the Canadian Mental Health Association in our town. So, and they do a lot in our town to help with addictions and mental health. And yeah, and then also with winter clothing items to help with uh, the people that they help with the Canadian Mental Health Association. So yeah, just people kind of coming together again in doing an extremely simple workout. Everyone had to come with either a rack or a backpack, and then we weighed everything in, and then we started at the same time, and we could do teams of two, or people could do it solo. So simple concept, but it was a really good day.
What's the weight on the backpack?
So RX is 45 and 30. We did 30 and 20 with the backpacks, but I mean
That's a,
most of the people aren't used to wearing a rack or anything.
that's a lot easier because like 40 is a hard one to I don't know, it just seems like a harder one to get a weight set up for. Maybe that's just because I have 30-pound plate and 20-pound plate for my backpack, so it already seems easier. But
Yeah.
I could always
We did give people the option to just carry a dumbbell, but everyone did manage to find a backpack.
I would rather the backpack.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's good. So it's 1,000 step ups and just
Yeah. It takes about like on average 45 minutes to an hour.
yeah, yeah, and like you say, just a simple thing, but ooh,
Hmm.
absolutely grueling. I did
Hmm.
have I was having FOMO about that one, and of course my plans were less ambitious. I planned to sit and watch the NASCAR finale to watch my driver win a championship, which he did not do, but he came second, so that's not bad. But yeah,
Hmm.
I made solid plans, and I couldn't switch that. But I liked the idea, and definitely if you do it again next year, I'll jump on for that.
Yeah, I was a bit late planning this one, but
Yeah, that's
like
what I didn't know.
I probably planned it like 10 days before. So I'll definitely get things out a little bit sooner. Um, that's probably one of my flaws is like last minute planning. Like this is a really good idea. It's only a week away, but it's fine. We'll put it together anyways. So yeah, I'll try to plan a little bit more ahead.
The I would even do the ultra one there like you did because it's only a 2K loop. So I could just run as much as I felt like it and then
Yeah.
just sit down and have some athletic brew. And
Yeah. And we have some, like I have some clients who have property and live in the country, and we've talked about making our own also, with a loop like through the bush and stuff like that. So we might do something a little bit more next spring that's kind of similar to that. So I do like the idea that the backyard ultra style. Just yeah, it's a really cool concept. So we might kind of add to that idea.
yeah. Well, that was what I wanted to do was an ultra of the track with the toughest mile
Hmm.
and thought that that would be cool. And I still think it would. So somebody else do it. Please somebody start stealing my ideas.
So you can just show up and
So I can just
have
show up
fun.
and do these things.
Someone else do all the work organizing it so Dave can show up and have fun.
But yeah, and then maybe they can make some money or something. I don't care because I don't really want to bother. I just want to show up and have a good
Yeah.
time. Is
Mm.
that so wrong? I don't think so. I don't think it's wrong.
Hey, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses.
Mine is showing up and having fun.
Yeah, and I do like to organize things.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and anyway, it was a good weekend for me. I had a good time. I did learn something about myself this weekend.
What's that?
I cannot snatch a 100-pound dumbbell. I tried. I came close. I came really close. But
Oh, don't hurt yourself now.
oh no, no, no. I was safe. But like, because I got the 100-pound dumbbells for practicing Atlas.
Yeah.
And that and whatnot. And we had Chris and Kelly run through Atlas as well as that was one of the workouts they did, which isn't a hero workout, but they did it anyway. And they both did
Hmm.
pretty well. So then I'm like, I kept like, can I snatch that? I don't know. I don't know if I can. And I gave it a shot. And nope. Not-
Hopefully warmed up.
I think I can. I'm pretty sure I can do 90s. I've done 80s before. I think I can do 90s. I was warmed up. I was well warmed up. And I think I do 90s, maybe a 95. But that 100, it was just like it got to here and it was like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Mm.
But I do know I can clean it. That's good. That's all right. It's a start. I'll get it. I'll get it eventually.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but I will. I think the 70s for me, the 70s are where I'm happy. I think it's just a nice, it's hard, it's heavy, but it's, like I can bang out lots of reps of those.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of The Rogue? I haven't finished yet, but did you watch any of it?
I mean, we were so busy this weekend. I did like I saw highlights and stuff, and I probably honestly paid a little bit more attention to the strongman because I love Mitch Hooper.
Awesome. I mean,
I'm
that
such
was
a
awesome.
fan of strongman now. It's just so cool to watch. And Mitch Hooper, our Canadian boy, is just he's he's coming up against bigger competitors who they keep saying, maybe this guy will beat him, but he keeps winning. So, and I don't know, he's such a good dude. I met him about 2 years ago at one of my brother's competitions and just one of the nicest people. And he even has tattooed on his leg, lift heavy, be kind. And he definitely lives by that. Actually, I think he has a tattoo that says something like pet dogs or something. It was like so, maybe I'm imagining this, but no, I think he does. But he's also like a huge dog lover. So, um,
Don't tell Rye that. I'll have to go out and pay for her to get a pet dog tattoo.
I think he has a pet like love life pet dogs or something tattooed on his
Makes
on
sense.
something. Yeah, but it's crazy. Yeah, so he won the Rogue Strongman against the one man who they thought might dethrone him.
Half,
Um, what Bjornsson
half Thor Bjornsson. The Mountain, if anyone
or
watches Game of Thrones.
yes, and what's cool about Strongman too is they all have a really cool nickname. So Bjornsson is Thor, and then
Well, his name is actually half Thor. That's actually his name, is half Thor.
oh really?
Yeah, it's actually his name.
Oh, that's cool. I thought he like okay. I didn't think that was his legal name.
No, it's his legal name. It's half Thor. And
Oh, that's cool.
but they call him the Mountain because on the show Game of Thrones, he played the character the Mountain, which is
Oh,
this the actual name of the character is the Mountain who rides. And in
oh,
the books, it's just this monstrous, monstrous man. So they call him the Mountain Rides because he rides a horse, and it's like a mountain riding horse.
oh.
I'm
What
gonna.
horse? He actually rides a horse.
I don't know if we see him ride a horse in the show or not, but he is
Oh,
just. He just the part is perfect for him. He's just
yeah,
so big because you think he's like 6'9", 400 pounds, and like fairly well, like I don't want to call it lean, but he's muscular. He doesn't look like your farmer strongman. He looks like
yeah,
bordering on bodybuilder strongman. He is
yeah.
just an
Well,
absolute
I mean, that's kind of like Mitch Hooper too, though. Like for a strongman, he's still pretty lean. But
Mitch.
yeah, Thor makes Mitch look small, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, Mitch wins one. Like obviously he's incredibly strong.
Hmm.
He's also very cerebral and very calculated about how he does everything. But
Hmm.
he wins on athleticism often.
Yeah.
They have those melodies, right, where they have to kind of run in between stuff. And he's really good at all the transitions and really quite fast on his feet for someone of that size. So
Yeah, so I think we've talked about this a while ago, probably when I first met Mitch, but he was a marathon runner
yeah, yeah,
and was not that slow and like sub 3 hour marathoner and then transitioned to strongman. So he can run and like my brother again competes and just got his pro card and my brother's kind of the same way. He would be one of the strongest in his category, and but because he's has still explosiveness, there's some things that he can do that some of the really big guys just
yeah.
can't. He moves really well. So he does look up to Mitch in that way.
Oh, well,
And yeah. So the Thor actually tied for second.
yes,
So there was a tie. So the uh the second place guy that tied with him, Tom Stolman, and his nickname is the Albatross.
yes. Very
Hmm.
big, long guy.
Yes, yeah. Also making Mitch look small. So
Yeah,
mhm.
that's why like Rye sent that picture to you guys of Mitch in between the two of them up for kind of the podium pick, and she's like, "This reminds me of Beth." She's like same kind of.
The only time in my life I'll ever be likened to Mitch Hooper, but
That's right. That's right. But I watched it all. I watched it all. It's great. And what Mitch does, and it reminds me of Tia in a way, and then Matt Frazier is he doesn't win every event,
Hmm.
but when he doesn't win, he's like second or third,
Yeah.
right? And so it's kind of really hard to beat him because if he gets a lead on you, and then you're like, yeah, I finally beat him at an event. Well, he probably finished 1 point behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Just no real weaknesses.
No, he carries it across. And like when he makes mistakes, they're very, very small.
Hmm.
And there's nothing that you go out there and you're like, oh, this one's going to slow him down. This one's going to hurt him. He
Hmm.
doesn't have that. Like with Half Thor, it was the overhead pressing. It was like, okay, that it's not good for him. It's a definite weakness. And it showed that was the difference, right? Mitch could
Hmm.
do everything. And when they got to that, Half Thor just couldn't keep up. So, but it was fun to watch. I liked it, but even more so, I liked watching the women. They were great.
Yeah.
Like to have them out there and they said this time was the first time ever equal pay for women and men in the world strong competition.
Only the first time
The
ever?
first time ever, yeah. Yeah, which
Okay.
well
It's a little late to the
they're a little late to the party, but this is for strong women. I guess they have not been brought in, and now Rogue especially is the one pushing, hey, let's make this right.
Hmm. It's probably honestly because of viewership.
Probably, but it's seeming now it's catching on, and
Yeah.
they seem to be just as popular. And there were two Canadian girls in it,
Hmm.
which um, one being Sam Beliveau, who holds the record for the single arm dumbbell press overhead,
Hmm.
and then the other one, Melissa Peacock. I don't think she has a record, but she did. They did pretty well, and they are remarkably smaller than the other women in these competitions. But
Hmm.
they kind of, especially Sam, come out pretty slow in the beginning because it was deadlift and stuff that's just not her. And they never did have the straight overhead dumbbell push, which she's guaranteed with. But she did get an event win later on. So that was cool. And Melissa was about middle of the pack the whole time. So for
Hmm.
smaller women, they did really well. I was really impressed with that. But
Hmm.
just the characters, they have the strong men and women, they seem to bring out personalities.
Yeah.
And I found it very fun and entertaining to watch. I like it a lot.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
did you hear, and this is a bit of a negative thing. So uh, there's a lot of CrossFit podcasts and whatnot and shows that, analysts do. They do what we do, but for CrossFit. And they're bigger. So there's one guy on it, John Young on one of the podcasts, and it's a good one actually called the Barbell Spin. And John Young is one of the commentators on it. And he made a bit of a comment that was, little offside, but where he's like, I can't get behind the strong women, and he actually said something just about pretty much said it's the way they look. Exactly. And so Mitch Hooper took a bit of offense to this and did a video about it and all that, and then they all kind of like did backfire videos of Mitch, like, oh, whatever, left this and that. And I'm like, here's the thing, we never talked about this, and I had never even mentioned it to you before. I just thought of it today. And that the John Young guy, I don't think he's a bad guy. But if someone had said, and I'm sure there are people that believe this, well, I don't like watching CrossFit women because they look like dudes. He would think that is completely stupid and wrong and offensive
Yeah.
and but when they up it a level to the strong women, it's okay.
Right. Like you can be this strong, but not this strong.
Yeah.
Now I
And
don't like watching you anymore.
yeah, and quite frankly, if you're watching strong women or CrossFit women just because of the way they look, you're probably watching for the wrong reason anyway, and go fuck off.
Well, exactly. Maybe he has ego issues because the strong women lift more than he does.
Yeah, there's that possibility. There is that possibility.
Hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, what I liked was that point of it was that Mitch Hooper came to their defense and just was like, these are athletes, and you're out to lunch. So it's on
Right.
one of the YouTube videos. So
Who
uh,
work very hard and probably don't care what they look like if they're the best at their sport.
Ryan and I were talking about it, and you know what? I was thinking about it, like I know some of the CrossFit women get stuff, and you see it in comments on posts. You look like a dude or whatever, la da 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 da, like that stuff, right? You look like a man, which quite frankly I think is crap because I think a lot of the CrossFit women are fucking gorgeous. But that's beside the point.
Hmm.
Um, either way, it's not something you need to say. Like if you feel that
Right.
way, you don't need to say it. You know,
Right.
there's
Nobody asked you.
nobody
Like,
asked you. You know what? If you think they look too manly for you, then great. They're too
right,
manly looking for you. Whatever. Who cares?
right.
But we were saying, and that's got to be disturbing enough, especially because we talked about all the young women that have been having a lot of problems with, the anxiety and the pressure of competition, like Mal O'Brien and Emma Lawson.
Emma. Yeah.
Yeah, like they've been struggling with this. This has been something that's going on. When I think they should be being celebrated, instead they're having to defend themselves. But we thought like strong women, because when you look at the strong women comments, they're not getting you look like the dude, like a dude. They're getting you are a dude.
Yeah, and I forget her name, but the girl that was second at
Olga,
Rogue has
Olga.
been heavily criticized for this.
Yeah,
And I mean, she's not. She is a woman, and but like, why do you have to defend yourself in that way?
yeah, yeah. And again, even if you seriously feel if you seriously feel that way, great, feel that way. You don't have to bring it online. You don't have to attack. They're fucking people. It hurts,
Right.
like,
Right. And I mean, with all the pressures to just compete and train and be at the level you are, and then as women, then you also have to worry about what people might say about how attractive you are or not doing your said sport. Like that
mm.
has nothing to do with your abilities. Men would never have to deal with that.
No, and like, yeah, the men get the comment of like, you're just fat. Well, who fucking cares? They're fucking powerful beasts. But a hippo and a bear are pretty fat too, and they're pretty powerful. But
Uh,
my thing is, and that's what I don't get it. I don't like people don't understand when you make comments like this online to people, they're real people. They're not made of stone. They have emotions. They do like you have no idea the kind of damage your little offhanded joke comment can make to someone.
mhm,
It's I guarantee some of them maybe are like, yeah, whatever, brush it off, or I don't read the comments or whatever. I personally think that's bullshit. I think they do read them. And I think
mhm.
I think it hurts like fucking hell,
Yeah.
And I think people need to step back and I'm not I'm not a snowflake guy. I'm all more of an old school guy, but I'm also a guy who believes that you don't need to be a dick.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we've just become so desensitized to people online who have a lot of followers and assume that, they're used to it or that we just like we have the liberties to say whatever we want because they're putting themselves out there. Therefore, they're opening themselves up to whatever people want to say about them. But it's not really that case. Like sometimes people just have a lot of followers because they're very good at what they do.
mhm.
Like they didn't necessarily ask for it, and they're not looking for people to criticize them in that way.
Yeah, yeah, and
And it
especially
would be hard to read that like constantly about, people talking about your looks or whatever.
yeah, yeah, and just by the way, for anyone who is a public figure or a strong woman or something like that, if you put ugly in front of your name, people never call you ugly. They just say you're not that bad. It's the ultimate defense. You're not
Like,
nearly as hideous as you could go on about. Anyway.
yeah, self-deprecation.
Yeah, I feel bad for it, like because
Yeah.
I get it. I think we all get those feelings, especially at first. We're like, whoa, like you get those feelings, but then you got to sit there and be an adult and fucking think about it and go, okay, well, yeah, that slipped in my head, but that's not reality. And let's, again, let's not be a dick. It's the golden rule. Don't be a jackass.
Hmm.
You don't have to try to hurt people's feelings. There's no need.
Yeah.
If you got to go online to hurt other people's feelings, well, then you have fucking issues.
Yeah.
I
Or
think.
to feel better about yourself. Like,
Yeah, 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 exactly. I know. I think they're amazing. I think they're cool. I enjoy watching it just as much as I enjoy watching the CrossFit women and stuff.
I
And
love watching it. Mm.
I find the CrossFit women's competitions better than the men's.
Yeah, I mean, in general, the women in CrossFit have been more watched than the men.
Well, and I just find the weights more relatable for me. They're still too heavy, but they're more relatable. I'm okay with like maybe the deadlifts and the dumbbells and all that stuff. As soon as they start putting things over their head like the snatches, and I'm like, I'm out. I can't even do your scaled version of that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
this time we watched, and I don't know, like I said, you haven't seen it yet, but was the one event called the gondola, and it was basically a horizontal pegboard, ski erg and GHD sit-ups, which I'm like, that's awesome.
Mhm.
We need to seriously help these CrossFitters with their horizontal pegboards. It was a bit of a mess. Guys, reach out. It's
Mhm.
You're all strong enough. The thing that surprised me was I think they've had like 2 weeks notice, maybe 3 weeks notice of this
Yeah.
being there, and so many of them did not seem prepared. And I was a little surprised because if you can do monkey bars, you can do a horizontal pegboard.
Yeah.
You just have to learn the technique. The technique's
Yeah.
not hard to learn. It's just a matter of a little practice and away you go. So I was
Mhm.
surprised, but at the same time, it was one of those moments where like, yeah, I can beat you in that. I wouldn't have come last there. So I was a good event. I liked that one a lot. There was a couple other ones. One with the rope climb. Anything with the rope climb, I really enjoy.
There was some that I was watching just highlights of, and I was like, oh man, just I can just see my Achilles exploding. Some of the stuff I didn't really, it's like they don't really think about these things. And of course, it did happen to a woman in one of the reels that I saw where it was the way they were jumping over the hay bale type thing
Mhm.
and you're rebounding, which you kind of have to do because that's how you move faster. But like, I don't even do that when I do box jumps because there's just like when you're fatigued, especially, and things are not firing properly, and they're in a multi-event competition, and you're jumping, and these were high, like probably 5 feet,
Yeah, they're
and
5 feet. Yeah,
yeah, coming down and rebounding, and then jumping back up, and then you're sprinting. Um, and I
pushing
there was
sled.
yeah, and then you push a sled, and then you're lifting. I was like, oh my gosh, I could just feel my Achilles throbbing looking at it. And yeah, sure enough, I did see a girl blow out her Achilles on it. So again, I
No,
don't know why. I know we're not trying to put them in bubble wrap, but there's
no.
some things where it's like, wow, the injury risk on this is really high.
Yeah, it's a whole recipe for disaster. So hindsight, CrossFit, if you notice this year, they made it so when you do the box jumps, we used to always see them rebounding off box jumps, bound,
Yeah.
bound. Now they made it so you have to step down because people were blowing out their Achilles.
Hmm.
So Rogue had this other one, and I guess they didn't see it coming because it is different. But they had not just the woman, one of the guys hurt themselves too. So this was a multi-round event. So it was like four groups. So there were 20 competitors, each 20 men, 20 women, each group. So they went 4 rounds of 4 groups of five, 4 waves of five. Top 15 moved to the next round. 3 waves, top 15 moved to the next, or top 10 to the next round, then top five, then top two. By the time they got down to the top, um, I think it was top 10 for the men, they changed it to burpees over the thing because a guy and a girl both got hurt. So that
Hmm.
midstream, they changed what the event was. And I'm like, I wasn't sure how to feel about it. One, I like that they were concerned about the safety, so let's do something about it.
Hmm.
Two, I'm like, well, how could you not have seen this coming?
I know the people programming this, it's not like they're new.
No,
And
they're very
you
good.
kind of yeah, exactly. So you kind of have to foresee some of these things. And I don't know if I'm sensitive to it because I had Achilles issues, but as soon as I saw them coming down off that thing, I was like, oh my gosh, something. And then of course, and then it happens. So,
Yeah, well, it was Danielle Brandon who was the one who was at first doing the bounding so quickly back and forth over top, and then everybody started copying her.
uh,
And yeah, I just y to see two people get hit with it in the same event. So I mean, I am
bad
glad,
programming.
yeah, I am glad that they fixed it, but
Yeah.
and lesson learned, just a little too late. Hopefully those two people are going to be okay. And one was Gabby McGowan, who was third place
Hmm.
at the time.
Hmm.
So like we're talking one of the podium contenders.
Yeah.
Was she third? No, she was maybe second. Anyways, top three for sure. So it was like, wow, that sucks. That sucks. But I
Mhm.
do, I haven't quite got through it yet. But I do think right now for me, and even last year, I prefer this event to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, I saw a lot of comments online that were like the Road Games is should be the fittest on earth this year, and how it was just a much better run event.
Yeah, and maybe that is because it is run by the pure sponsor who has it, right? Rogue runs it, Rogue, the equipment they do, and
Mhm.
their association with the strongman. Great idea, fantastic. I also
Yeah.
like there's only 20 instead of 40,
Hmm.
right? Like 40 just drams on and on. And quite frankly, most of the ones in the 40 were like, who are these people? And they're not ready.
Hmm.
So I like that. And I like that the Rogue Invitational seems far more CrossFit-y than the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, I think the games can get a little bit gimmicky sometimes.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
way out there. Like I don't, and again, I don't like. We've said this many times before. Paddle boarding should not be part of the CrossFit Games.
Yeah. Well, and I like that with Rogue, they give them the workouts ahead of time.
Yeah, they get a little more
So
notice.
yeah, so people can be prepared, which I think as an athlete, I know some of CrossFit's philosophy has to be that, you're good at everything, but I think, again, we're talking about people who do train an awful lot of things. So giving them like 2 weeks notice, great, you get to run through it a little bit. Like then we do get to see them do performing it at their best.
Yeah, and like yeah, the whole thing is unknown and unknowable, right? That's what they
Mhm.
hang their hat on, which great. But like you say, 2 weeks does one, 2 weeks does a thing. 2, 3 weeks allows them to be able to do the event safely,
Yeah.
right? To be more prepared safely, to be like, okay, I'm gonna at least have an idea of what to do. And it doesn't
Mhm.
mean, if you give it to them, you still get the unknown and unknowable. You don't have a year to prepare for one
Yeah.
event that you actually know what it is, like High Rocks is, like Deca is, like what we do. But you at least get time to be safe and to figure things out and figure, okay, I'm going to maybe need some hand flaps for this, or I'm going to need a knee brace, or
Yeah.
this technique is dangerous. I need to do something different,
Yeah.
or I can't swim, like, or whatever, or I can paddleboard and at least learn how to go forward in it.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Just anyway, I think it was better. I think it's a better event. I just do.
Yeah.
I liked it better last year. This year's, there's no question, obviously.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I said it before going in. I think whoever wins this is the real fittest.
Well, and especially this year. And again, we had two Canadian boys, number one and two,
Mhm.
Adler and Fikowski, on his farewell to CrossFit competition,
Yes.
which, it's in a way we kind of saw this coming, but this Fikowski did announce his retirement, and this was going to be his last one. So I'm really happy to see that he got on that podium beside his Canadian friend. So,
Four Canadians in out of the 20 for the men.
mhm.
So that was pretty cool. Um, yeah, Fikowski going out at the top of his game. I
Yeah,
like seeing that. I like seeing when like a pro goes out and says like, you know what, I'm at the top of my game, but it's time to move on. And
yeah.
yeah, he's as good as he's ever been.
Hmm.
And to go out and move on, like you said, he'll be in PFAA, and he's probably going to make a bigger difference to the sport there than he would be as a competitor.
Yeah, he's definitely put in the time at CrossFit, and he's been in it for the last 12 years essentially. So he's seen all sides of it. He's seen the growth of it, good and bad. He would have like very knowledgeable insight into, how he could make it better. He's earned the respect of a lot of his competitors, so I think he's the right man for it. And you do hit a point. I was talking during the many hours that I was running this weekend about how sometimes you do hit a point in your sporting life where your impact on sport is greater on the other side of things than it is as the athlete. And you have to know when it's time to put maybe a little bit more energy there. And I don't think necessarily because he's going to never compete again, but it takes so much energy for him to be where he is in CrossFit and to continue to be always at the top. So to be able to shift some of that energy to elsewhere where he can make an impact, I think it's the right time, it's the right place, and all of that for him. So, I admire that a lot for him and what he's doing.
You know what you said it right. Like when we started this stuff and started doing a podcast and everything, you were elite Spartan athlete, right? Spartan pro, going with that stuff. You're making your mark there. Oh, and did for. But I can arguably say that you've made more of a mark in the sport since then from just your voice and your opinions and stuff in the role than you did being an elite athlete. You still are. I mean, you're still doing it, but you know what I mean? You've added
Yeah.
that. You know, for me, it's night and day. Like for me, I was a random age grouper, and now the difference we've made in the sport and that I make in the sport now, I'm actually a, a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
just for everybody out there, if you just think you're not really a part of it and you're just there, you have no idea what's to come. You have no idea what you
Mhm.
might become, how you might affect somebody else and how you might affect the sport. It just happens,
True.
you know?
Yeah, and I mean, at some point, like I'm not getting any younger, and I'm kind of at that point where, like, I'm probably not going to get that much faster. Like my peak is probably in the past in some aspects in aspects, and so yeah, to put my energy into other ways I can help and impact the sport is also something that I think about too. So.
Yeah, yeah, it's and
I mean,
that's
I'd love to be able to run as fast as I did when I was 25, but yeah, like the reality of it for me on the verge of turning 40 is I might never run a 5K that fast again. There's still a part of me that's like, you could do it. And then there's the reality check where it's like, yeah, you maybe can't.
you know what
Who knows?
the fact that at 40 you're still close to it and the possibility is that I
Yeah,
might is
I
still
still
pretty
might. And
fucking good.
Amy Belavacqua, she gives me hope sometimes.
Yes.
I was like, maybe, but
A
you just
decade and a half left.
I know, but I think that well, I guess she did, but I have a lot of running in my legs too,
Yeah.
a lot. But it's okay. But sometimes it's just the reality.
So in my training, getting ready for Worlds and knowing that I don't have to run a lot at Worlds, but when I do run, I have to run well. I have to run
Hmm.
fast. But I've done so much cross training now that my running right now is in the short distance, I am faster than I've ever been.
Hmm.
And my recovery is as quick as it's ever been. Now, I don't think I could run my fastest 5K right now. I think that was probably 2, 3 years ago when I had
Hmm.
much more volume.
Yeah.
But yeah, the for what I need to do, I'm thinking that cross training when we get older, even if you want to be a runner and race, is so important.
Well, and that's what I notice. That's the biggest thing with where I am at this stage in my athletic life is in my 20s when I was like, okay, I have this race coming up, I could smash mileage
Mhm.
and, stack on 140K weeks back to back to back. And I could recover from that, but there's no way I could handle that volume now. My recovery is very different. So I have to train a lot smarter, and be way more cognizant of recovery practices in order to handle training volume. Whereas, you can kind of you get away with a lot more in your 20s. And you recover from injury and something flares up and I'd take 3 days off and then it's gone. Like it's different now. So cross training and lifting has to be an integral part of being able to run fast later in life.
Yeah, if I was running the volume I was in 2020, I'm pretty sure my knees would fall off. Like they'd just fall out. The caps would just fall out of my skin somehow. It'd
Mhm.
be
But
like,
you can still run as
yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Like 2020, actually in 2020, which was like first lockdown, I was like, I'm gonna run a 5K PB. And I was in shape to do it.
Mhm.
And then but I was probably running half the amount of mileage that I would have in like in university days. But I
Yeah.
was almost at the same and just cross training a lot.
Yeah. I just think for me, like right now at 48 with the cross training, my knees feel better than I can remember, probably since I was 17.
Hmm.
And like, you know, better range of motion, better power, like just more explosiveness. And I'm like, it is all because bike, rower, bike, rower. Like I spend so much time on the bike and the rower.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, like, I'm at the point where I'm competitive. I want to compete. I want to compete, but dude, I just want to get through life pain free. I'm not pain free, but like
Yeah.
not hurting so bad all the time. And
Yeah.
it's been
And
a whirlwind.
we have jobs to do.
Yeah, physical jobs, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't sit at a desk to do my job. I climb ropes.
Yeah.
Like So anyway, it just that cross train. If like I said, if I was running that much, I'd be crippled. Like I couldn't maintain it. Some others were fine with it, but me, I could not. So
Hmm.
yeah, cross train like mad. You can just I can put on so much more volume.
Hmm.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
I can, and also intensity. Instead of just doing like 80/20, I can add extra intensity because I can recover from it faster. My joints aren't beat up. It doesn't take as long for me to recover from it. Um,
Hmm.
but it's been good. I'm ready. I'm feeling very, very ready. I'm gonna crush some shit. Like I wasn't aiming for a podium for Worlds till next year, but I'm aiming for one this year.
Well,
We're up in the schedule.
you said it here. If you're racing Dave,
That's
look
right.
out.
Yeah, one. Fucking get ready. You got to carry me. Making a lot of promises I can't keep up to, so you better be fast.
Speaking of high mileage, WTM was this weekend.
Yes.
We had some big mileage, and I was thinking about it too, and it looked like it was really warm through the night. So I think people put in some serious miles throughout the night. Our winner for women was 95 miles. So
Hmm.
knocking on the door of that 100 miles by Nikki Karumba. So she's a South African. First time a South African stood on the podium at WTM.
So cool.
Yeah, she was the European toughest champion.
Hmm.
And so like we've seen her coming in this, and she did state that she wanted to win it. So, and then on the men's side, Michael Shot, so from Denmark, did 115 miles.
I, is that a tying of the record?
I think so. Yeah.
I think he tied Mark Batres.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. And then the mountain men, so Veerman and Gaudet put down 125 miles, and they were flying. So they won the relay.
So that yeah, you could like that team going into it. You knew they were going to be deadly. You knew they'd
They
be
won by multiple laps.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then it's it's that super team. And how crazy was it that Atkins was able to keep secret that he was going?
I know. Did he keep it secret or did he decide last minute?
I was told he kept it a secret.
Okay.
I don't
Because he just
know.
didn't want the hype.
I guess I don't know. You know,
I
Ryan.
can appreciate that because I think he just, like you said it in an interview, he just wanted to come out and see if he still liked doing this thing. So
Yeah,
he probably just didn't want the pressure of, people making speculations and, is he's coming back? Is he going to win? And I mean, and then he's got more going on in life right now. He has a baby, and he did it unfortunately end up getting injured.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, I heard a lot of the footing was like kind of like cow pastury, with a lot of ruts here and there and stuff like that. And it's just ankle rolling nightmares, right?
well, yeah, and at night and when you're fatigued, it's
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
tough.
think he got hurt before too. I mean, he was 40 miles in when he got hurt, and
Oh,
for him that's pretty early. But
yeah.
yeah, it sucks. But I mean, it was cool to see him show up and get out there and shows that he's still part of the community and he still loves it and all that stuff. So that was kind of cool. I was down with that.
Yeah.
But definitely, I knew there'd be good times this year because one, it's Florida. You're not going to get a ton of elevation.
Hmm.
Did see they found one hill. I saw it. There was a hill. It was like 20 meters long, but it was definitively a hill. And then yeah, with the weather, like most people didn't need wetsuits and they were going. There were still goofy penalties. For fuck's sakes, get rid of the goofy penalties. I hate
I
them.
saw them bouncing on the Swiss balls and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And another one was they were hammering rebar into the ground and everything like
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
just make penalty loops like they had in
Yeah.
Vegas when I was there. Like, yeah, just nasty ass time suck penalty loops.
Hmm.
That was the best. So yeah, goofy penalties, but a lot of people still doing, and I know that wasn't quite the turnout that I know Tough Mudder and everything would hope for, but I think considering the way OCR has been going, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And next year they're off to England for the
Oh.
first time ever, and I think it's going to be massive.
Well, I mean, European OCR is still alive and well.
It's flourishing. That's the word I was looking for. Took me a sec. It almost came out as,
Mhm.
but no, it was flourishing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, comparatively to North America, they're killing it over there. That's why I think it's going to be amazing. And the people over there have been waiting for it. They've been
Yeah.
dying to have it. So I think it will be massive. And, Hopefully it's not too massive because then it's going to stick over there and that's our loss.
Well, I mean, you gotta support your race brands if you want them to stay.
They did do the smart thing though. They moved it to like June because who the hell wants to run in the UK in November?
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that'll make it even bigger too. It won't be in championship season. It'll be a nicer time of year in the UK. I think it's going to be big. I think they'll be back over 1,000 people running it.
Did they say where it was gonna be in Europe?
In England, it's in England.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and I guarantee it'll be well run. They do things good over there. It'll be a great
Yeah.
event. And OCR Report again this year did 24 hours of coverage, and they do a really good job with it. Like
Yeah.
if you're watching to watch it like a race, no, that's not what it is. Their coverage is like this is the community. You're going to see what's going on in the race, but you're also going to see the other side. It's a lot of other little stories and what's going on and everything. But it's great to just they go 24 hours. You could just click it on anytime and they're doing something.
Um, the trail running is also it's really taking off too, and in Europe, and I think too with WTM, it is kind of a bit of a, if you want to try something a little bit different.
Mhm.
Like even in Canada, trail running has been taking off. Like we had our Canadian Trail Running Half Marathon Championships, and it was the highest turnout we've ever had. They had it in Quebec.
Mhm.
I, Lindsay Webster was going, and I just saw Emma Cook Clark
Mm.
won another
The
of the
sky race.
Skyrunning World Series. Where was she? I'm just checking. Was it in Spain? I forget, but yeah, like the trail running scene is alive and well, and the ultra stuff is taking off. Um, so again, getting people back into something like WTM, again, if we can, I don't, I know Tough Mudder people love some of the goofy things, but if there's an element of, it doesn't have to be all serious, but professionalism to things, then I do think it could be a natural transition for people.
If you take away the goofy penalties and put in just penalty loops, I promise you not one soul is going to say, I'm not going this year because they don't have the rubber ducky bounces.
Well, and there could be a penalty thing that you have to do. It could be a little bit more than just running. Even sandbag carries,
Yeah, yeah.
crawls, you know, even like accuracy things or something like that that you have to complete. But I think, the grade school games type stuff could go. Just
Yes.
my opinion. But
Well, no, and like I said, I mean, I've talked to people. I don't know a single person in the Tough Mudder community who would not go because they don't have the goofy things.
yeah.
I don't know who's clamoring for this. I don't know whose idea it is or why it needs to be there, but it's not what made WTM popular. It didn't come in until 2018 in Atlanta was the first time it started getting goofy like that.
Mm,
And quite frankly, it's there are other variables, but attendance has slid since then,
mm,
right? Like 2017, it would be like, you know, 1,500 people, and now it's like 700.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that there was a lot of weather that affected that, especially in Atlanta, the 2 years in Atlanta when it was just freezing cold.
Hmm.
And that hurt it a lot. But then it never bounced back. Even when it went back to Laughlin, it bounced back a little bit. But yeah, you gotta get rid of the goof, make it a race again.
Well, maybe Europe will change it a little bit.
Maybe they will. I hope so. Because I loved it. I mean, and if it wasn't goofy, I'd be more tempted to try it again, especially as a team. I'd love to do a team relay thing one time. I
Relay.
talked about that with some of the guys before, but not if it's, you know, not if I'm bouncing on. Well, I'm not going to fail the obstacle, so I'm not worried about it. But but yeah, it needs to go. Some people, just little shout outs to some of the people like our buddy Jules Tower. She got 60 miles. She does what she always does, goes out there and gets 60 miles. Our good friend Belinda Lou put in her 50.
Nice.
So I like seeing them. Deanna Braz was up back out there. She put in another 50. I saw that. Joe Zach, 95.
Wow.
Joe Zach this is his game, man. He's good at it.
Interesting.
It's his game. And our boy Ryan Reed, 80. You frozen your thinker pose again. This is what you do. Don't do that. You cause issues with the internet when you do
Okay, don't think too hard.
that.
Changes the frequency of things.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard me. Ryan Reed. Ryan Reed got
Yes,
80.
I was gonna mention him if you didn't, but yes, Ryan Reed and first in his age group I saw.
Oh yeah. I mean, that guy's just great. I love Ryan. He's a good kid.
Mhm.
He's awesome. And I
Yeah,
mean, it's proving he's got a wide range. He's got the wide range of abilities and skill levels.
yeah,
So
solid deca strong, and then now WTM 80 miles.
yeah, yeah. He's a great and then just a great kid.
Yeah,
He's a
he
great
is.
young guy. Because that's what we need is more young people coming in, and he's a good one too. So
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, that was the weekend. It was a good weekend.
it was a good weekend. Yeah.
And I got more coming. I'm ready. Lots more Deca Atlas. We got Farm Girl this weekend. Deca Strong at Farm Girl this weekend.
Hmm.
I did for a minute there. We had a couple of tickets that became available for people that weren't going to be able to make it, and well, they're gone. So now that doesn't matter anymore. So it's sold out again.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, but if you want to come by and we want to see it, hopefully we will see you there. And those that are competing, can't wait to see you. Thank you for signing up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see some good times, I think.
Hmm.
A lot of people are getting prepped for Worlds and going to throw down some nasty times.
Yeah. Yep.
And the course will be set up like it is always. It'll be quick. If people weren't there the last time, I don't know if you had it last time, but we got the good, solid, heavier box now, so the box jumps are even faster now, more
Hmm.
stable.
It's
Yeah,
good.
I still proclaim it's the fastest, legitimate strong course out there.
It is a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Hmm.
Oh, speaking of strong, Tara, 12-minute dead.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah, 12-minute dead going into Worlds. So that is the second fastest time ever.
Charlie
Fastest
Wolpat still the fastest.
11:55. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think Carly's was done with some of the off-brand machines that were a little quicker, especially that one Skierg that was a little quicker. Um,
Okay.
and Tara's was actually done with an Echo bike.
Really?
Yeah.
They're awful.
That's exactly. I don't know. I've never timed them, so I don't know how much difference you're gonna get, but it's gotta be probably 5, 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I did do we qualified with our deca mile with one. It's just they're so big.
Yeah.
Like I feel so small when I jump on one. I feel like a child who jumped on their dad's bike and it's like just this monstrous piece of machinery. But
I like it is strange. I mean, different. So like for example, we have at home here, we have an assault bike classic.
Mhm.
And we do have one of those at Farm Girl as well, but then we also have the assault bike elite. And the elite's faster. It's
they they
notes.
they all feel a little bit different, but
Yeah,
I think they're all pretty close in the end.
they're close. They're close. But when you're
Yeah.
talking seconds, there's a difference. There's definitely
Yeah.
a difference. Now it's not like your Schwinn bike that I had. That's just a completely different world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like where I had to do 40 calories to equal 25.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was still easier because it was actually like you could get so much faster. Like there was so much less resistance from the fan. You could pedal at such a higher RPM.
Mhm.
Right. So it wasn't, this one's building more strength. So anyway, congrats, Tara. Hopefully she's another podium. I mean, she's got the potential to hit all three again this year. Well, not
Yeah.
again. She's the only person to ever win all three, but never in one year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All
Thanks so much,
right.
everyone, for listening to us shoot the shit again. It was an exciting weekend, though, so lots to talk about. And Dave might see some of you this weekend. If not, we'll probably be seeing some of you coming up in Florida. But yeah, lots coming around the corner here, so it's exciting times.
Take care.